Dear students, once again, after a gap of 1 week, we are going to begin with topic number 1, namely rectifiers, filters and voltage regulators from paper number 5. In the last period, we introduced the topic and then we have studied the rectifiers. We classified the rectifiers into basically two types. One is a half wave rectifier, second one is a full wave rectifier. We also studied that the full wave rectifiers are classified again into two types. One is a center tapped full wave rectifier and second one is the bridge type of full wave rectifier. Out of these, we started with half wave rectifier last time only, and we have completed the construction and working of half wave rectifier. Just we will rewind within a short time. Half wave rectifier is the rectifier that converts only half of the AC cycle into pulsating DC to the load, and that is the reason why it is called as half wave rectifier. During the construction of half wave rectifier, we studied that it consists of a step down transformer to the primary 230 volt AC voltage with the frequency of 50 Hz is connected, which is to be rectified. Across secondary, a semiconductor PN junction diode is connected so that its P region is connected to the secondary winding and N region is connected to the load resistance, and load resistance is connected to the ground to the secondary terminal. So this is what we have studied in the construction. We also studied the working of the same. When we have studied the working, we covered that when 230 volt AC voltage is applied to the primary winding of the step down transformer produces reduced secondary voltage Vs, and that is equal to Vm sine of omega t. So that if suppose positive half cycle reaches to the P region of the P junction diode, the diode is forward biased and it starts conducting the current. So conducting DC current will pass through the load resistance RL and it will develop the voltage VL or VDC across the load resistance RL. But during the negative half cycle, when it reaches to the P region of the PN junction diode, the diode D will be reverse biased. It acts as an open circuit. It doesn't conduct the current. Hence, no DC current passes through the load resistance RL. Hence, no voltage across the load. Thus, out of positive and negative half cycle, only positive half cycle will be converted into pulsating DC, and that's why it is called as half wave rectifier. Friends, this is what we have studied the last time. We will proceed here onwards to derive some of the derivations that makes you clear how much amount of DC voltage it is developed across the load resistance RL at the cost of DC current IDC. What is the ripple factor which is associated with the half rectifier? What is the efficiency of half rectifier? So all these formulas we are going to derive in the today's lecture. So let us proceed with that. So we are continuing with the half rectifier. At the beginning, we are going to derive the formula for the DC current. DC current is a current that flows through the load resistance at the cost of conduction of the PN junction diode when it is forward biased. To determine its magnitude, let us consider the secondary voltage of transformer B, Vs is equal to Vm sine of omega t. We are aware that input voltage is in the form of sinusoidal form, and that's why it is represented as sine of omega t, and omega is equal to 2 pi f. F is the frequency of the AC, and that is 50 Hertz, where Vm represents the maximum peak amplitude of the secondary voltage. Vs represents the voltage across secondary winding. With the graphical representation, we can say, so this is the Vm, maximum voltage, or if you are dealing with AC, Vs is equal to Vm sine of omega t, we can call it as this is the maximum voltage Vm, and this entire voltage is developed across the secondary winding, so that's why we can call it as it is the Vs. It is in the form of a sine wave, so that is the reason why it is denoted by Vm sine of omega t, because this signal changes as the sine function changes. So this is represented by a secondary voltage Vs equal to Vm sine of omega t. From this voltage, we are going to determine the peak current, that is given as Im is equal to Vm upon Rs plus Rf plus Rf. We are aware with the peak voltage. Just now we have seen from the waveform, where Vm is the peak amplitude of the DC voltage, Rs is secondary winding resistance. Means as secondary of the transformer has a winding number of turns, its resistance is represented by Rs. Rf is forward dynamic resistance of PN junction diode. As in the circuit diagram, we have connected the PN junction diode. When it is a forward bias, its dynamic resistance is given by Rf. We have studied in the last year when we have studied the PN junction diode. RL is the load resistance which is connected across the half wave rectifier, across which we can get the DC voltage at the cost of DC current flows through it. By knowing the magnitude of the peak current, one can determine the DC current. The DC current IDC is given as Im upon pi, especially for half wave rectifier. By putting the value of Im in this equation, we can get Vm upon pi into Rs plus Rf plus Rl. So this is the DC current that flows through the load resistance RL. If suppose the value of RL is very large, then this term becomes to be a unity, and that's why we can call it as it is IDC is equal to Im upon pi. Now second parameter we are going to calculate, that is called as DC output voltage, VDC. As this DC current flows through the load resistance RL, by Ohm's law, across RL the output DC voltage is developed during the positive half cycle, but in the negative half cycle, as the diode doesn't conduct, no current flows, hence no voltage. Thus we can say, as DC current IDC flows through the RL, the output voltage is given by Ohm's law, VDC equal to IDC into RL. Putting the value of IDC as a Vm upon pi into Rs plus Rf plus RL in VDC equation, so as to get Im into RL upon pi. IDC is equal to Im upon pi with that factor. Now putting the value of Im, we can write it Vm into RL upon pi into Rs plus Rf plus RL. We have substituted Im is equal to Vm upon pi into Rs plus Rf plus RL. By simplifying this, we can get Vm into RL upon pi. Take RL common. When you take the RL common, we can get 1 plus Rf plus Rs upon RL, which one can write it as Vm upon pi. This RL cancels with RL, and that's why we can get it Vm upon pi into 1 plus Rf plus Rs upon RL. If suppose value of RL is very greater than Rs plus Rf, obviously it is true, then this factor becomes 0. As being RL is more, this factor is ideally 0. When this factor becomes 0, then this lower term becomes as equal to 1, and that's why we can get an equation that Vm upon pi. Hence, the DC voltage developed across the load resistance is Vm upon pi. So, DC current is Im upon pi and DC voltage is Vm upon pi as far as half wave rectifier is being considered. Now, third factor we have to calculate, and that is known as ripple factor. The ripple factor is denoted by R, and it is the measure of amount of AC present in output DC. It is a factor that is used to measure the amount of AC present in pulsating DC. It determines whether a rectifier produces fully DC in the output or not. It is this aspect is being measured by means of a factor that is known as the ripple factor. It is a factor that determines amount of AC present in output DC in the half wave rectifier. Now, it is also defined as the ratio of AC component to the DC component at the output. So, another definition of ripple factor is it is the ratio of AC component to the DC component at the output across the load. That is, by this particular definition, we can write it R is equal to AC component upon DC component, which can also be written as RMS value of AC voltage upon DC voltage. RMS means root mean square value of AC voltage upon DC voltage. Symbolically, we can write this as VRRMS. VR means ripple voltage. RMS means root mean square ripple voltage upon VDC. So this ripple factor is represented in the form of voltage. Now when same ripple factor is going to be represented in the form of current, then we can write, that is, in terms of current, the ripple factor is given as IR RMS upon IDC. IR is the ripple current, RMS is root mean square, that is root mean square ripple current upon IDC. Just to proceed further, we can write it, but we have in general I square RMS equal to I square R RMS plus I square DC. I square RMS means root mean square current. I square R RMS means root mean square ripple current. So that's how we can write it I square RMS equal to I square R RMS plus I square DC. By simplifying this, taking this term to the left side, so that we can write I square R RMS is equal to I square RMS minus I square DC. Taking square root on both sides, so as to get I RMS is equal to square root of I square RMS minus I square DC. That is, a ripple factor or I RMS is also given by I square RMS minus I square DC upon IDC, because this is ripple factor. So that is ripple factor R is equal to, we can write it as I RMS minus I square DC upon IDC. When you take IDC in under root sign, then we can write it I square RMS upon I square DC minus 1. This is under root sign. But for half wave rectifier, IDC is equal to Im upon pi and IRMS is equal to Im upon 2. So put the value of IDC is equal to Im upon pi in ripple factor equation, and IRMS, IDC is equal to Im upon pi here, and IRMS is equal to Im upon 2 in this particular equation, so as to get ripple factor is equal to under root of Im upon 2 bracket square upon Im upon pi bracket square minus 1. But taking its square, we can write it square root of Im I square m upon 4 upon I square m upon pi. Here I square m cancels, and that we can write it as square root of pi square upon 4 minus 1, which is equal to square root of pi square is 9.87 upon 4 minus 1. So 9.87 upon 4 becomes equal to 2.46. So that's why we can write it ripple factor is equal to square root of 2.46 minus 1. By subtraction, we can get ripple factor equal to square root of 1.46. The square root of 1.46 approximately comes to be 1.21. If you multiply this factor by 100, we can get ripple factor as 121%. Friends, as we defined, ripple factor is a measure of amount of AC present in output DC, and its value for half wave rectifier comes to be 121%, which is much more. Thus, amount of AC present in output DC in case of half wave rectifier is much more. Thus, amount of AC present in DC is more. This is the conclusion which we can draw from the ripple factor. Now, to proceed further to determine the efficiency of half wave rectifier. So, as far as efficiency of half wave rectifier is being considered, it is defined as it is a ratio of DC power output to the AC power input. Because generally efficiency is the ratio of output upon input. Here output is DC whereas input is AC. So thus we can make its definition as output power DC upon input power AC, that is eta is equal to PDC upon PAC. PDC we can calculate as PDC is equal to I square DC into RL, but IDC is equal to Im upon pi. So that's why we can write it I square m upon pi square into RL. This is the PDC. PAC is equal to I square RMS into RF plus RL. Putting the value of IRMS as Im upon 2 for half wave rectifier, we can get it as I square m upon 4 by taking its square into RF plus RL. Putting the value of PAC and PDC in the efficiency equation, that is eta is equal to PDC upon PAC, so as to get eta is equal to PDC upon PAC, that's equal to I square m upon pi square into RL, this divided by I square m upon 4 into RF plus RL, which one can write it as I square m cancels, so that we can get it 4 into RL upon pi square RL into 1 plus RF upon RL by taking RL common from this particular equation. So next step, this RL cancels with RL. By cancelling RL with RL and putting the condition that RL is very greater than RF. When RL is greater than very greater than RF, then Rf upon RL becomes ideally 0. When Rf upon RL becomes ideally 0, then we can get it efficiency as 4 upon pi square. That is, eta is equal to 4 upon pi square, and that's equal to 4 upon 9.87. Its value approximately comes to be 0.48. If you multiply this 0.48 by 100, we can get it the efficiency in percentage, and that is almost all about 48%. Thus, efficiency of half a rectifier in converting AC into DC is only 48%, and which seems to be less. Means this circuit is not efficient to convert AC into DC. Another factor which we are interested to calculate, and that is peak inverse voltage. Peak inverse voltage, it is the maximum reverse voltage for which diode withstand without damaging. For half a rectifier, the peak inverse voltage is Vm. Vm, as we already studied, peak voltage means this is the voltage to which we can call it as it is peak inverse voltage. So this is the inverse voltage for which the diode withstand in its reverse bias condition maximum voltage tolerable for diode is Vm in reverse bias condition. If when voltage becomes more than Vm, then it is going to damage. So that voltage we can call it as it is a peak inverse voltage. Dear students, this is what we have to study as far as half wave rectifier is being considered. So just for your revision purpose, in this particular period we have studied construction and working of half wave rectifier along with circuit diagram, waveforms, and also the derivations that makes aware us the values associated for DC current, DC voltage, ripple factor, efficiency, and peak inverse voltage. Friends, one more factor is mostly associated with the rectifiers, and that is called as transformation utilization factor. But as it is not included in your syllabus, we are not representing here. But just for your information, again I am quoting the same. The transformation utilization factor is the factor that determines how rectifier makes use of the secondary winding of the transformer. That factor we can call it as it is a transformer utilization factor. How efficiently rectifier makes use of the transformer. So that is being determined by means of an transformation utilization factor. This is merely for your information. Please do remember, along with all these parameters, this parameter also. So that's all about today's lecture, to which we can call it as the half wave rectifier. Next time we will begin with the full wave rectifier circuit. So please do prepare with half wave rectifier so that it becomes very easy to understand the next lecture, which is totally depending on this particular half wave rectifier, where we are going to start with the full wave rectifier circuitry. So that's all about today's lecture.